Let's go!
They leaning on these tools while they worldview saws off the branch that they sitting on and turn to. If there's no God, why treat morals like they're worth use? Why's nature predictable? Why's logic universal? Press that point hard and it folds. If reality's just atoms bouncing, how does this hold? There is no reason for the laws of thought to sunrise. It's just unwise to place your chips hoping for luck each time. Moral anti-realism shake you. Good and evil, relying on your preferences, that's crazy, bruh. You have no reason to oppose someone whose hate is love. That system crumbles, can't account for it. Make things up. The very tools that you use to argue against your God, they undo the things you do because you use them, ain't that odd? It's philosophical schizophrenicism running its course, borrowing coherence from Christians while denying its source. Your position eats itself from the inside. The only logical answer's a transcendent mind. Anything else is arbitrary. I can't relate, cause arbitrary can't hold up a debate. The impossibility of the contrary seals it. Without God, you cannot prove that anything that's real is. Barnes' core vibe is that proof itself. Logic, evidence, reason, presuppose an order found only in God himself. If you deny him, you're blind and you're swinging in the dark. Logic's not a human creation or contingent on your thoughts. Brain fizz. Science already assumes that nature's uniform, but can't you see that blatantly that says that you are wrong? Duh. Why trust the law without a lawgiver? Morality hits us like it's absolute, it talks to you. Torture isn't just yuck, it's wrong objectively. Yet when we object without God, it's all subjective feelings. Naturalism stuck within a self-defeating loop. Deduce God's absolutes to argue God's not absolute, which only serves to prove the point of Bonson. When every step they take just screams for God's existence. Your position eats itself from the inside. The only logical answer's a transcendent mind. Anything else is arbitrary. I can't relate, cause arbitrary can't hold up a debate. So tag's the knockout punch for Christianity. No other theory of the many can bring man to peace. The only worldview that holds it all together. God's rational mind grounds logic, his will aligns nature. His holy character defines the true morality. Every debate, every thought, and in every art we feel, it's all riding on his reality. Contrary, impossible, not just weak. It's incoherent naturalism. It's a house of cards. Moral anti-realism's a shrug, really has no cause. Without God, you're really just spitting to no beat. Claiming the stage while the lights go out, it goes deep. Tag says he's the rhythm, the reason to rhyme. Everything flows from him, that's a truth that you can't hide. Tag says he's the rhythm, the reason to rhyme. Everything flows from him, that's a truth that you can't run and hide from. Your position eats itself from the inside. The only logical answer's a transcendent mind. Anything else is arbitrary, I can't relate, cause arbitrary can't hold up a debate. So tag's the knockout punch for Christianity. No other theory of the many can bring man to peace. The only worldview that holds it all together. God's rational mind grounds logic. His will aligns nature. His holy character defines the true morality. Every debate, every thought, and in every art we feel, it's all riding on his reality. The contrary, impossible, not just weak. It's incoherent naturalism is a house of cards. Moral anti-realism's a shrug, really has no cause. Without go out, it goes deep. Tag says he's the rhythm, the reason, the rhyme. Everything flows from him, that's a truth that you can't hide. Tag says he's the rhythm, the reason, the rhyme. Everything flows from him, that's a truth that you can't run and hide. You can't hide. You can't hide.
Your God's obvious. What's up, Anna? Anna. In in college, my best friend's girlfriend's name was Anna, and like everyone would call her Anna, and she'd get so pissed. She'd be like, "It's Anna." So now I just say Anna. I think now I've like it like reversed. She trained me to say Anna all the time now. This is blasphemy against Biggie. Oh, Biggie's in hell. Biggie is burning in frickin' hell. There can be no doubt. There can be no doubt. Yo, I'm getting canceled. Dorian. Stop bugging me. Because this guy was insulting me and I was insulting him back, and I made fun of his race. And that's a bad thing, apparently. See, like, when I talk shit to people, that's what you do. You talk shit. Get it. But apparently there's these rules to talking shit. Racism is bad. Yeah, racism is bad, but like making fun of someone's race isn't bad. He's a jerk, man. The guy's a total jerk. So like, I don't know, man. Like he insulted me way more than I insulted him, but because I made fun of an immutable characteristic, that's how somehow it's going too far. It's like fuck that. Fuck that. Yo, I get made fun of for how I look. Ow. Ow. That's not a big deal. Dude, I got made fun of hard. Like I got fucking the whole gray corn thing. They all made fun of me for that. Justify race. Well, to me, I would say racism is when you're like oppressive. You're oppressing. Like to me, racism is you try to get a job and you can't get the job because of your race, or you want to buy a house but like they won't they won't sell the house to you in that like the neighborhood only sells to people of a certain race or something like that. Like gentrification is that no, that's a little bit different. So like that to me is like being denied opportunities in life or something, like basic opportunities that everyone should have because of your race. That's racism, and that's bad. That's oppressive. But like me, if just some like guy doesn't like if some like let's say there's some idiot um some village idiot that doesn't like a particular group of people. I what is he's not oppressing anyone, right? He just has a stupid opinion. So who the fuck cares if someone has a stupid opinion? Or like if I make a joke or make fun of someone, how is that who am I oppressing? Who's getting oppressed? No one's being oppressed. Who cares? There's no harm there. So I don't see like if you want to say if you want to say like making a joke is the same thing as like denying someone a job opportunity, if you want to put those things on the same level, I think you're watering down the evil of racism. Then it's like, well, if just making fun of someone is racist, well then racism isn't really that bad, is it? It's not really oppressive then. So I think that's problematic when you do that. So I wouldn't do that, but Dr. Blitz is chill. I mean, he's chill, but he's like passive aggressive. So I don't like people who are passive aggressive. I like people who are blunt and just like open and honest. Yeah, I don't even know what that means, Lee. I can't stand passive aggressive crap. Christendom will be destroyed. What is Christendom again? It's like I forgot. How did he? Oh, my cat is like biting my foot. You're a little ankle biter. My cat's an ankle biter. Christendom. Oh, Christendom is the system of power that used Christian labels. Okay. So Christendom is like politics with like a Christian label. So I don't really think Christendom is Christian. It's just basically politicians, evil politicians that label themselves as Christians. That's all that is. Being prejudiced isn't Christian like. Um, I. What do you mean? Wouldn't we? So we should be like prejudiced to sin, though, shouldn't we? I don't think being. I remember in English class we had to write a paper on like prejudice, and it's like the teacher tried to like teach everyone that prejudice was bad, and I wrote a paper that like prejudice is good, and I mean like it depends, right? Like it could be bad, but it's not necessarily bad. Like let's say you're walking home at night, and there's like the shorter way to get to your home is to take this alley, but the alley's dark, and you see um, some rough characters in the alley, right? Let's call them rough characters. And then there's a longer way you could go, and on the longer route, you see like a sweet old couple, right? Well, you might avoid the dark alley with rough characters because you're prejudiced, and you might take the longer way home where the only danger is a sweet old couple, right? So that's prejudice. You're saying like these characters are probably gonna hurt me more than the old couple, but that's like that's that's good, right? That's right. That's you're right. Like you should you should avoid the dark alley with rough characters, which is prejudice, but I don't. That's good. So I don't think prejudice is like always bad thing. They say don't judge a book by its cover, but honestly, your inner character can be reflected by how you appear on the outside. Like, if you look like a slob, you're probably lazy on the inside, right? So, that's what it is. Let's be real. Let's stop living in this fantasy. The only way you can be a realist is to be a Christian, because to look at the world objectively, you kind of have to step back from society. But like, and as Christians, we're in the world, but not of the world. So we can realistically look at the situation. Whereas non-Christians, they're all of the world. The non-Christian can't like take a step back from society and look at it without bias. The non-Christian is like super biased, so they can never be realistic. They live their whole life as an atheist fantasy. Or whatever non-Christian fantasy. It could be a Muslim fantasy, a Mormon fantasy, whatever, you know. Choose your own fantasy, choose your own adventure fantasy. What's the irony, Daniel? Yes, all people are biased, that's true. I'm confusing prejudice with discretion, am I? I don't think I am. Let me ask. I'll ask the AI. The AI is a large language model, so it should understand language. It should be able to answer this. If I avoid a dark alley with rough characters, that is a shorter way home in favor of a longer route with an old couple, am I being prejudiced? Choosing a longer route with an old couple over a dark alley with rough characters isn't necessarily prejudice. It's a practical decision based on... How is that not prejudice? Based on perceived safety. However, if your judgment of rough characters stems from stereotypes... Right, like, I'm saying... For sure it would. Like, assuming they're dangerous based on race, clothing, or other superficial traits, right? Like, I could assume they're dangerous because they're young. Or, yeah, maybe they're wearing clothes that are, like, affiliated with, like, a criminal organization. Was that, or is that, like, or how, maybe they have, like, a do-rag. I'm like, oh, people with do-rags, you know, that's prejudice. Okay, maybe like my example's not the best. Maybe I should use a better example. Maybe like it's not. Maybe I should use a super stereotyped example. Yeah, maybe that's not the best example. So it has to be based on stereotypes for it to be prejudice. What does prejudice mean? I thought it just means to like a preconceived opinion, a judgment based on a person or group, typically negative, formed without sufficient evidence or reason. Right, so like if someone's like young, or there would be evidence maybe for that, because like the old people are, maybe I could say there's like evidence. Okay, so it would just be like okay, so maybe the example, it could be like the alleyway had people who looked like they were poor, and the longer route had people who looked like they were middle to upper class. And so I would take the route with the middle upper class people, because I would be prejudiced and say, well, an upper class person is less likely to commit a crime against me, whereas a lower class person is more likely to commit a crime. So that would be like prejudice, I would think. I don't know. Maybe I should base the example more on stereotypes. I hate language. Words are so stupid. Am I right? You just discovered your AI today. He is now my new bestie. Yeah, AI is pretty fun to play with. Remember though, the AI is only as good as what you put into it. If it's just drawing from the internet and you're not putting sources into it, then it can make a lot of mistakes. So what I do, the strength of the AI is it's a large language model, and so it's good at like breaking. If I'll put like I'll be reading a book, and maybe I'm reading some like something I don't really understand, and so I'll take like a passage from the book, like a couple pages or a paragraph or some whatever, a couple paragraphs, and I'll throw it in the AI and I'll be like, explain this to me like I don't know anything about philosophy, or explain this like I'm a layman. And then it does a good job of like breaking down complex things into a way that like um, everyone can understand. So it's pretty good with like language. And you can like in ChatGPT you can upload actually like books into it and then ask it questions about the book or like help. So like that's what I've been doing is like I'm reading a book, but then I also upload the book into the AI, and as I'm reading it, if I have questions, I can ask that AI the AI questions about the book. And it's like having a teacher or something, right? Why does everyone ask me where like do you think I have like Dr. Blitzes in the chat? You guys think I have like Darth on call or something? I can just like hit the bat signal and then Darth will show up. Yeah, I just thought it'd be funny to make. Everyone was making like tier lists, and I just thought it'd be funny to, because like literally all the atheist debaters are. I wish there was like a lower ranking than D, honestly, because atheist debaters are pretty bad. Pretty bad. I was gonna go over. Ian debated Rasul. Man, I need to get YouTube Premium, like for real.
More.
What am I doing?
Cause and effect.
Alright.
On your plate.
When did this debate start?
It goes
Who's
into
it
this
by?
on the.
Who is it by?
I think it's Friar Kajin.
Oh,
Flipping.
Okay, I'm trying to find the.
Right, so
I should
yeah,
have
so
probably
by-
done this before the stream. I'm trying to find. Jail Warren uses you as his footstool. Jail Warren. I don't know, man. Jail Warren is not really the best debater. Plagiarizing content. What are you talking about? Everyone does. It's like React content. You think so? Everyone who does React content of the atheist nocturnal, I don't think there's any good. Let me think here. Okay, so like from a logical point of view, there's no good atheist debater. If we're thinking like rhetorically, I don't know. I don't even know how to judge them because it's like what am I judging? I'm just judging like how well do they like BS people basically, right? So like I don't know how to judge an atheist debater because debating atheism is all about like basically lying and gaslighting your opponent. So I got slammed by Ian. Ian came up here and he goes, "What's your critique of the Teattle?" He never responded to the tag argument. Ian just did a lot of BS, says the pre-supper. You don't even understand pre-sup Blitz. You don't even understand the argument, apparently, which is like weird. Like, I don't understand how you do math. So math makes it super obvious there's a God. So like Blitz, we design a bridge based on mathematical principles, and according to those mathematical principles, the bridge doesn't collapse due to the rule of gravity or the law of gravity. So you see what we have here is we have conceptual rules. Okay, Blitz, do you understand the difference between concepts and like things that are concrete? So we have conceptual things like unicorns or Santa Claus, right? Santa Claus is a concept. And then there's like things in reality, right, Blitz? Like the cat or the tree, or like those things exist in the real world or the external physical world, right? So you're doing physics all day. So you see this, you should see this evidence all the time. I don't know why. How you clearly have a spiritual issue. It's not an intellectual issue. So the problem here is, so we have conceptual rules like math. Math, when you do physics, math is a conceptual rule. But then we have physical rules like gravity. And the conceptual rules connect and map on to the physical rules. So, like, if we think of a bridge, I use this example all the time. So, we have the blueprint for the bridge, which is the concept. And then the builder takes the blueprint and he constructs the bridge. So now we have the concrete bridge in reality, in the physical. And then we have the concept of the bridge, like the blueprint of the bridge. So for the blueprint, the concept to fit the bridge, the builder has to design the bridge using the blueprint. If a builder builds a bridge without the blueprint, do you think the blueprint is going to fit the bridge? If you're honest, you would say no, right? It's impossible for a guy to build a bridge without a blueprint, and then it somehow magically fits a blueprint that he had no knowledge of, right? So what we have here is conceptual rules like math, concepts, and they fit to physical rules like the law of gravity. So that's just like the blueprint can only fit onto the bridge if the builder has the blueprint. So he can intend for them to fit together with his mind, right? He intends intentionality. So in the physical worlds, like math, they're intended to fit physical rules like the law of gravity. So that can only be possible, like in the situation with the blueprint and the bridge, that's only possible if God creates math and God creates the rules of gravity. If God doesn't create these rules, they don't fit together like puzzle pieces. So when you drive over the bridge and you trust the concepts to hold the bridge up and that the bridge won't collapse, that's God. That's the single unifying principle.
Heyo.
Ew.
Hey, so I'm not actually here to debate. I just want to ask a question that I think will be very useful to you.
Okay.
So God is all-knowing, right?
Yes.
Not about the day or the time, don't worry. Does he know what it feels like to be fucked in the ass really hard? No lube, no condom, 2 trans women, Eiffel Tower? He's
It's not
all-knowing, right?
presupposing anything, Blitz, because you drive over a bridge and you trust that the math will keep the bridge from collapsing. Yeah, no, God doesn't know what it's like to sin, so God would not know that, no. So Blitz, when you drive over the bridge, you trust that the mathematical principles fit with the physical.
Hello.
Mathematical rules fit with the physical rules, so you believe in God, whether you admit it or not. Welcome.
Can you explain to me how Christianity is objectively proven? Sorry, I just got in.
Yeah, I guess you weren't listening, Blitz. So there's 2 types of rules. Mathematical rules or conceptual rules. And so we use math to like build a helicopter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if the math is wrong, the helicopter crashes.
Right.
So what we have here is there's There's physical rules and there's conceptual rules, and they fit together in such a way that we can use the conceptual rules to actually like build helicopters, bridges, buildings, and they function and they work because the rules actually fit together. So that means these rules have to have a single source. If the rules don't come from the mind of God, the rules don't fit together, and you couldn't use math to build a bridge or a building or a helicopter. But we can do this, right? And this is only possible if we have God's mind to give us the rules. That the rules come from a single source, so they fit together. They're
What's your
intended for
evidence
each other.
that God's mind is the source of those rules?
Okay, and Blitz is like has no response, so he goes, "You're presupposing, because I can't. I don't know what to say because I just do science and I'm metaphysically confused." What's up, bro?
I was asking what's your evidence that God's mind is the source of those rules?
I just gave you. So they have to fit together, so they have to be intended to go together.
Yeah, and what's your evidence that God is the one that intended those to go together? That intended those rules to go together?
Oh, he revealed that in creation and human history. And if you deny that revelation,
Where
you'll be reduced to absurdity.
where did he reveal that?
The Bible,
Okay,
Abraham,
how do we
Moses,
know the Bible is true?
because you cannot deny the Bible without presupposing the Bible is true.
How?
Can you deny God without presupposing God?
Define presupposing God.
Tacitly assuming him when you talk.
Yes.
Oh, go for it. What
Wait,
absolute? What?
I'm confused by which.
You are confused.
I'm confused with my presupposing.
Oh my fucking god. So what? Everyone has metaphysical assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
And if God isn't one of your metaphysical assumptions, you couldn't talk or make or predicate. So
Why is that?
Because God is the ultimate reference point in predication. So anytime you say like, the cat is on the mat, that's a predication that requires God as an ultimate reference point to give context to your sentence, so it has a meaning.
Why do I need God to give context to my sentence?
Because you either have an ultimate foundation for truth, or you have brute facts. But brute facts leads to absurdity, where there would be no truth or meaning.
Okay, I can have the truth. I can know the cat is on the mat, but why do I have to assume that God is the reason for that?
Because without God, you wouldn't have an ultimate foundation for truth. You would have ultimate mystery, and you'd be stabbing in the dark. You wouldn't know up or
No.
down.
Just because I don't have the truth of the origin of the universe doesn't mean that I
You're
don't.
not understanding. If atheism were true, nothing would be connected. Like if you look and you see dark clouds in the sky and you think it's going to rain, there'd be nothing to connect those things together. God connects everything together. So when you deny God, you enter into a realm of fantasy and absurdity.
How does God connect those things together?
Because he's the single, concrete, unifying causal principle that connects everything
Prove
together.
that. Prove
It's
that.
revealed. It's revealed.
In the Bible, you can't prove the Bible is real. You can't prove the Bible what the Bible says is true either, though.
Sure I can.
We'll do it.
Can you can't, yeah, the Bible, so facts require a story. You can't have facts without a story. Did you know that?
You can't have facts without a story. 100%.
No. Do you agree with that?
Can you have facts without a story?
A story behind the facts, right? Facts require a story behind the facts.
I don't think you need story behind the facts. I think you need
really?
behind the facts. That's what I think you need.
Oh, so you could have a fact in isolation with no other fact to support that fact.
No, you need evidence to support that fact.
Okay. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? We're talking about facts here.
Yeah. Facts require
what is a fact? Do you even know what a fact is?
A fact is something that can be proven with evidence.
No.
Yes, that's what a fact is.
No.
What's a fact thing?
No. A fact is just a state of affairs that would make a truth statement true. that would connect to a truth statement.
A state of affairs that would make a true statement true. So evidence that would make a statement true is what you're
A
saying?
fact is just a state of affairs. In the
Define
external
state of
world.
affairs.
Like if I look outside and I see a tree in my yard, that's a state of affairs.
So what's the fact there that you have a tree in your yard?
Uh-huh.
So your evidence that you have a tree in your yard is that you looked outside.
Bro,
That's what you're saying.
I'm about to throw up. I'm so disgusted by like how dumb you are.
You're just using synonyms.
This is okay. We're just gonna move on. Read a book, man. Welcome.
Welcome. Do you know what a euglena is?
No.
It's a simple single-celled organism, a little bacterium kind of thing.
Amazing.
Got a little flagellum on the back of it. Swims around.
Awesome. Why are we talking about this?
It responds to simple stimuli, light and dark.
Uh-huh.
So we'll consider light one state and darkness another state. So what we have is a binary. You with me so far?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it knows to move from the light into the dark to protect itself. Or doesn't know, it just does it.
Uh-huh.
Is that intelligibility?
No, it's like
So
calculator.
so it's a calculator. But it's a yes or a no, right?
I said no. Do you have ears?
But it's a yes or a no. Do you know what Boolean algebra is?
No.
So Boolean algebra is a mathematical formulation, and it's used in
Bro,
electronics.
I don't need a lecture.
No,
like-
you're going to get a little lecture here.
Okay.
So we can make.
Oh, no, I'm not. I wonder, geez, that's funny. Welcome.
Hey, so why do you think that Christianity is like the only alternative to atheism?
I don't think that. I think you either have a Christian worldview or a non-Christian worldview. And
So then why would you say
non-Christian
Christianity
worldview-
is the objectively proven?
Because all non-Christian worldviews share one property that makes them impossible, and that is that they say that man can reason without needing God. That God isn't necessary for man to reason. But that's not true.
Why would the Christian God be necessary for that?
Because we have to use like logic to reason, and so we need something to make logic true or real, and without the mind of God, logic, the Christian God, you couldn't make logic real or true. Nothing would make it true.
So would you agree that logic is a fundamental law of the universe? Or not even like it's just a natural law of the universe, right?
It's like a law of thought. It's a rule. It's a rule of thinking,
So
or like correct thinking about the world. You could say correct thinking about the world.
so why can't an intelligent God other than the Christian God create that logic?
Because you need to have certain attributes. One of those attributes that is God has to reveal himself. Because if God doesn't reveal himself, we can't know God. Would you agree? We
Well,
can't logic our way to God or science our way to God.
God has not revealed himself.
Okay, well that's your position, but I doubt you could defend that. That's what I'm saying. You couldn't say that God hasn't revealed himself without presupposing God has revealed himself. So you just contradicted yourself.
What are you talking about?
God revealing himself. So we're in an environment where God revealed himself, or you're in an environment where God didn't reveal himself. But if you're in an environment where God didn't reveal himself, this conversation would be impossible. Yet we're sitting here talking. And the reason for that is because you wouldn't be able to explain, without God's revelation, you couldn't explain why nature is consistent or where you get moral absolute values from.
Why? Why can't this be a product of human consciousness?
Because they're like these things are like necessary, and human consciousness is contingent.
Necessary to what?
Logic is necessarily true. It's true in all possible worlds, but you don't exist in all possible worlds because you could not exist, and the world would be just fine. But if logic doesn't exist, we couldn't have a world. So logic is a necessary truth. And since human minds are not necessary, they're contingent. You couldn't explain logic with the human mind. It's a contradiction.
That doesn't really make sense. We can't observe something that's necessary because our minds aren't necessary.
Your mind can't be the source of a necessary truth because your mind isn't a necessary truth. We need a necessary mind to have a necessary truth.
When did I say our minds were the product of logic? Or when did I, sorry, the other way around. When did I say logic was the product of our minds?
It doesn't matter. You're using logic. No, because I asked you like what makes logic real, and then you appealed to your mind. Your mind doesn't make things real. Like your mind doesn't make gravity real. Did you know that?
Sorry, if I said that, I must have misspoke.
Oh.
I meant that why does logic have to be a product of the Christian God? Because I'm personally deist, and my belief does not contradict. Sorry, it's really early.
Deism doesn't make any sense. So for one, you wouldn't have like if God intended to hide himself, could the world know God?
No.
Right. So we can only know God if God reveals himself. So you have no revelation. So you can't know your God. So you're just making things up. Aside from that, even if it was true, deism, there's no God to like interact with the world and like ensure that things are working properly and consistently. The deist God just creates the universe and then he takes off. So
Well, considering there's immense human suffering, I think that would make sense, yeah.
what if the universe breaks down like a car? If you could create a car, but what if it stops running? You need a mechanic to fix it. So like the Christian God's like the mechanic, and he fixes the car, the universe keeps it going, keeps it running. The deist God just creates it, and if it breaks, then the universe is done. There's nothing to ensure like consistency or coherence.
So an all-powerful God can't create a universe with flaws. That's a contradiction.
The Christian God didn't create a universe with flaws. He created a universe that was good.
So then why does he have to stay there to upkeep it?
Because it could break down. What would ensure like?
But you just said there's no flaws.
Yeah, but why is gravity gonna work tomorrow? What ensures that there's going to be consistency in nature? The Christian God does through his divine counsel and plan. The deist God has no plan to ensure that there's going to be consistency, like logical consistency or physical consistency.
Why is gravity something that needs to be upheld? Why does it need insurance to break down out of nowhere?
All of you're relying on like not necessarily gravity, but just that there's patterns in the world. You're relying on the patterns in the world to even talk or reason.
Listen, if the natural laws that they created under both of our beliefs, if they can break down, then they were not created by a perfect God.
Okay, so you're just ignoring what I'm saying. But you still
you're saying that they need that intervention to make sure it doesn't break down. But there's literally no way they can break down.
You still have the epistemic issue. You're just making your God up. You can't defend that. There's no evidence for your God. I have evidence for my God.
Christianity says that plants came before the sun. Which of ours do you really think is more logical?
Yeah. Science said that the Earth was 3 billion years old, and then now science says the Earth is 4.5 billion years old. So
probably because we've got better measurements.
Stop. Science was wrong by 1.5 billion. Now, I'm no Einstein, but 1.5 billion is a lot to be wrong. The Bible has never been wrong by 1.5 billion. So we should trust the Bible because science is 1.5 billion wrong.
So science does advance, and when are you talking about that it was 1.5 billion years old? Or
Like
1.5
100
billion
years
ago?
ago, people thought the Earth was 3 billion years old. And now, 100 years later, they go, no, it's 4.5 billion. That means science was 1.5 billion wrong. That's an incredibly large amount of wrong.
Okay, so that's not science being wrong, that's our understanding of science being wrong.
Ha-
100 years ago, people thought it was okay to racially segregate people. I don't know why you're using, like, what are you talking about?
If I was 1.5 billion wrong, would you keep trusting me in the future?
If you had 100 years of advancement and correction, then yes, I would. We didn't have the tools to accurately measure Earth's age 100 years ago.
Bro.
Radioactive dating is based on math, and math literally cannot be wrong.
Science is just provisional truth. So what you're doing is like a scientism, where you're treating science as the absolute truth, as if science is God, the new God or something. So
Okay.
The Bible is the word of God. It speaks with divine authority. So anytime science
Thank you,
and the
Edward.
Bible disagree, we have to go with God, because God is the ultimate authority, not human. Science is fallible. That's the point.
Okay, so I have a question. Would you agree that math is true? Like, math is objectively true, regardless of how you think it came to be?
Yeah, I think that proves God.
Okay, so do you know what the radioactive decay equation is?
No.
So it's a mathematical formula.
But I
where
don't really
you
want to lecture on this. Because
Okay, well, basically, the age of the Earth is objectively proven based on a mathematical
it's
equation.
not. Yeah, but it's using circular reasoning, because they're assuming you're presupposing God, what is the word?
You love the word
Uniformitarianism.
presupposing, don't you?
I do.
I'm presupposing what?
Uniformitarianism. And you also have to assume like that the daughter elements started at 0. What if the daughter elements started at a different number? You could be wrong.
Well, no, we know what the daughter element started off based off of sources that we have from now,
No.
like current
No.
sources.
Oh my God, I gotta go because I don't know.
Because you have no idea what you're talking about.
Well,
and
you're
you
kinda
lost. You
lying.
lost. Just
You're
accept
kind
it.
of lying. Okay, sure.
Literally everyone in the comments is agreeing with me, so.
I agree. You're right.
You've made this day a special day by just your being you. There's no person in the whole world like you, and I like you just the way you are.
Isn't that special? Welcome.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're kind of low though.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, awesome.
It's not a God of the Gaps argument. The gap is in the non-Christian position. Like you have a gap to explain logic,
you can't explain
uniformity of
how
nature,
you don't know something.
the reliability of senses, cognitive faculties. I can barely hear you. What would you like to say?
Can you hear me now? Hello, 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 hello.
Yeah, I can. It's just low. Here, I'll turn up my volume. What would you like to say?
Right, can you explain why you were on Chatterbait then? Because I've heard that recently.
Well, this isn't. I mean, that was like 8 years ago. It's just because like I'm a dork and I can't get a girlfriend, pretty much. So I just went on there. I just went on there a couple times for like, as a pagan, trying to do pagan shit. But
yeah,
I didn't really even like it. So I never really. Went back there.
And you were gay. It said on the website thing.
Oh well, do you believe that then?
Well, I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Well,
are you gay?
No, I'm not. But this isn't.
Okay,
This live isn't. This live isn't.
Why you described yourself as gay is a bit suspicious.
Well, maybe. How do you know I did that?
Yeah, that's
because like I don't know. Could someone possibly see? Have you ever heard of like Photoshop? Welcome. If you want to think I'm gray, that's fine. I don't care. Welcome, Tom. Look, Daniel. I'm just telling you the truth. If you don't,
Am I in this right now?
If you don't accept the truth, that's on you. Yeah, Tom. What's up, Tom?
What's up, bro? I'm not trying to be a hater. Like, It just seemed like that from what you were saying that's what you were into. I don't know. If you want to speak for yourself and like I don't know, establish something.
Well,
But I don't know.
this live isn't about like what I do in my bedroom, right? And this is like 8 years ago. If you want to,
No, I totally.
if you want to believe internet rumors, like go ahead and believe whatever lies you want to believe.
Can
So
you
I
tell
don't
me
really care.
like what an internet rumor about you is though? Like, cause I don't know. I'm just kind of like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just getting into this, and it's very interesting, and I have no opinions at all. So can you just
Okay.
tell me?
Well, this live is about like, are you an atheist?
Definitely not. Personally,
No.
atheists are gay. I'm definitely not an atheist.
Okay. What is? Where do they grow these people? Guys.
So many people have asked me, do you ever get mad? And of course I answer, well, yes. Everyone gets mad sometimes. The important thing is what we do with the mad that we feel in life. A few weeks ago, on my way home from a particularly tough day at work, I stopped to see my 2 grandsons. Their mom and dad weren't there, but the boys were there with the babysitter in the backyard, squirting water with hoses. I could see that they were really having fun, but I felt I needed to let them know that I didn't want to be squirted. So I told them so. And little by little, I could feel that the older boy, Alexander, was testing the limit, until finally his hose was squirting very close to where I was standing. I said to him in my harshest voice, "Okay, that's it, Alexander. Turn off the water. You've had it." He did as I told him, said he was sorry, and looked very sad. The more I thought about it, the sadder I got. I realized that Alexander had not squirted me, and that I had stepped into his and his brother's play with a lot of feelings left over from work. So when I got home, I just called Alexander on the phone. I told him I felt awful about my visit with him. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I was taking out my anger from work on him. I told him I was really sorry. Do you know how he answered me? He said, "Oh, Bubba," he calls me Bubba. "Oh, Bubba, everybody makes mistakes sometimes." I nearly cried. I was so touched by his naturally generous heart. And I realized that if I hadn't called him, I might not have ever received that wonderful gift of Alexander's sweet forgiveness.
See, we need more forgiveness in this world, because everyone makes mistakes, and when you make a mistake, you want people to forgive you. But we just have these like unrelenting, merciless little Pharisees, sanctimonious, self-righteous pricks, as if, oh, you guys never made a mistake in your life? Okay, well, come at me, bro. Go ahead and roast me. I can take it, because the more you like mock me and persecute me, that's just gonna increase my mansion in heaven.
Hello.
What's up, bro?
So since you already lost on one,
Yeah, I lost. Yeah. What does it mean to lose without God? What would be your standard for winning and losing? Words.
Anyways, let's move on.
What's your objective standard for winning and losing in a godless, meaningless world? You're just brain fizz.
My standard for losing is not winning.
You're a bag of chemicals. What's your standard bag of
In a
chemicals?
competition between 2 people and you didn't win, you lost.
What's your standard, you bag of chemicals?
I just told you.
In a meaningless Big Bang evolved
let's
ape?
move on to number 4. Let's debate number 4.
Let's answer my question, you evolved ape.
I did.
When you say I lost, what is your objective standard in a meaningless world
standard
of brain fizz
for losing
and chemicals and
is
atoms?
not winning.
What is the objective? Where do you get an objective standard with the brain fizz chemical atoms?
My objective standard for losing is not winning. I just answered the question.
Bro, you're not even trying.
I answered
Try
the question.
harder. Try harder, dude.
What do you want me to say?
I don't know. Why are you like this?
Can we move on to number 4, please?
I don't know. Why are people like this? What could possibly make someone?
Let's see, I don't know. Let me think. Let me knock on Mr. Noggin. Who could trick us into doing that? Could have been Satan.
Welcome, random. Are you not there? The whole argument is begging the question. Of course, right? Because the argument is that God created all facts. So are you saying that I should use uncreated facts to prove that God created all facts? Wouldn't that be, I don't know, R-worded? Shouldn't I use facts created by God to prove that God created all facts? Why would I use facts that God did not create to prove God created all facts? So yeah, it's going to be question begging because we're talking about ultimate reality. And what I'm saying is that it's either you beg the question and accept, God as ultimate reality, or you don't beg the question and you have a transcendental collapse. Truth in your system is going to collapse into absurdity unless you accept the self-attesting Word of God, the self-attesting Christ of Scripture. You have no self-authenticating starting point from which to build a system of truth. Your system would be built upon arbitrary assumptions, and it would collapse into arbitrariness and absurdity. Are you there, random? You're going to hell. Okay, he's not here. I could do. You there, random? Mars to random? Come in, random? Why can't it kick him? Bro, it's like glitched out. He's like stuck on my panel. What the hell? Yo, Daniel, I saw you talking to Rasul. You were totally gaslighting him. That was really rotten of you. You should be ashamed of yourself, Daniel. You're here? I can't hear you. What's going on? Can you leave and come back? Can people hear him? I'm gonna have to end the live, I guess. I'll have to restart the live. This is glitched out.